Hi everyone, this is Tyler Como, and I'll be doing a technical presentation on CareTech, which is the homeless health record. I'll be focusing primarily on the first half, doing functionality overview, screen prototypes, and the data flow diagram. So let's get into it. This is where the link for presentation will be stored. It's just a placeholder for now. So starting out, the functionality overview. The patient can be looked up in HIE of 1 directory using QR code. HIE of 1 is the Health Information Exchange. It's actually developed by two of our external mentors. It's a blockchain solution to enable patients to manage their own health records. So we want to be able to use QR codes to see if the patient has an account within HIE of 1. So after that's been decided, the provider can then authenticate with the homeless health record using various methods seen below. Next, the homeless health record is able to search data from all authorized patient EHRs. HIE of 1 handles this for us. Anything that's authorized, we should be able to pull that information in. We're going to focus primarily on prescription drug history. We're going to do reconciliations, which involves the physician being able to review the imported medication history as seen in number 4. And after that, all this information is going to be stored and it can be accessed by other providers. So just quickly, the prototypes, this is just to kind of get us and our external mentors on the same page. So starting out, this is the patient. The provider can sign in. They can see the patient name, the information, and the connected resources. This is the history page where the different visits have been displayed and the reconciliation information is shown. And then here's just how they could create a new reconciliation with the prescribed medications. So last is the data flow diagram. This is just going to walk through a normal workflow of the application and where data is going to be coming from at any given time. So we talked about before, the patient has QR code pointing to the HHR. They're at the beginning. This is when they arrive at the emergency room. And then we're just going to work down through it. The provider is able to sign in. The HHR finds the resources, retrieve the reconciliation information, and then they can actually do the reconciliation at the end where the data is stored. So that's it for my half. Thank you.
Thank you for the recording so far, Tyler. My name is Mona and I would be taking the presentation from here. On the screen, you can see a picture of our architecture diagram. You can also find a link on the slide. This block diagram essentially shows the concept of our project from an engineering standpoint and talks about how the different components interact and fit in together. It is a combination of both the major functional blocks of the internal system, like the web server, the RESTful server, and so on, and the outside entities that our project will be interacting with, like the reconciliation database and HIE of 1. Here's a picture of our class diagram. This is a very basic layout of the proposed class diagram with some of the most obvious methods and classes that will be utilized in the project. We plan to refine this more and more as we dive deeper within the project, but essentially the major components are here and the structure won't change a lot, hopefully. As part of the languages that we'd use for the project framework, we have decided to use Python and Flask on the back end and Vanilla.js, jQuery, Bootstrap, and Actions on the front end. We will also be using HIE of 1 for the authentication part. As part of our next steps, we plan to continue researching HIE of 1, and we have also decided to get started on the actual prototype starting next week. In terms of risks and mitigation plans, we have listed a few here on this slide. The biggest risks involved so far are those related with HIE of 1. Since it is an external resource and doesn't have a lot of documentation, it is proving to be tough to get our hands around it. We plan to talk to our external mentor for a detailed discussion to understand this application better. And we also plan to start integrating this with our app sooner than later to get more advantage. On the slide, you can find the tasks performed by all of the team members here. Overall, most of us focused on the research on external resources and documentation for the project this past week. You can find a link to our Gantt chart attached here. And the weekly status report link is attached here. Thank you very much. We hope you liked the project.